Welcome to the May Discovery Hour. I'm Bill Sullivan, Senior Director of Product at Facility Grid. Today is about two main themes. The stronger foundation we just finished building for Facility Grid, and the smarter platform we're putting on top of it. Version 5.0 is coming very soon, as well as the next wave of feature capabilities. So throughout this webinar, if you have any questions, please enter them in the webinar questions box. We'll review those and get to them after the presentation and demos. If we cannot reply to any of those today, we'll get the answers back as a follow-up. So let's begin with a quick overview of what we've been up to. So we've got two core ideas driving our work this year. First, a stronger foundation. We've modernized the platform underneath so Facility Grid stays fast, reliable, and ready for what's next. Second, a smarter platform. We've been quietly building CXAI, our AI for commissioning, designed to actually help you do the work and then not just talk about it. Both are landing in the near term. So today, I'm going to show you where each one stands and what's coming next. So on the agenda, we've got 5 stops, what we've been up to, the version 5 foundation work, a live look at version 5.0, and then what's coming next in 2 parallel tracks, and then a demonstration of CXAI, our first AI checklist generator, as a real sneak peek. And then we'll answer questions and do Q&A. So introducing Facility Grid 5.0 to everyone here. 5.0 is stronger underneath and refreshed on top. So 3 key items to know. First, we've modernized the platform. So we've got a new technology foundation. It's faster, auto scaling under the hood and under load. Recovery is in minutes if anything goes wrong. And it's easier for us to build on. So the AI and new features you're about to see ship faster and better. And the release pipeline is modernized. So product improvements arrive more often and with less risk. We've also hardened the security end to end. So we've got tighter authentication, modernized data handling, faster monitoring and response. So the system becomes harder to compromise, easier to audit, easier for your IT teams to approve. And also a refreshed AI UI. So cleaner palette, modern fonts, easier navigation. The mobile's already shifted, and this is where the web catches up. Every feature is right where it has always been, so there's really nothing to relearn. I'm going to just touch on the journey to 5.0 because this really took us a number of months and a lot of work. So just a quick walkthrough of how we got here. So we had the new foundation, then code refactored for it, and then monitoring was elevated and security hardened end to end. Then we updated the UI and refreshed it, and we've been doing deep testing throughout all these steps, and really each step has layered on the next and fed the next layer as we've gone through this this process. So what we're going to see in 5.0, so in practical terms, what's different is we've got a modern palette of colors, cleaner navigation, more consistent icons. However, with that, every feature, all the workflows, and every habit you've built is in the same place, in the same way. So there's nothing to relearn. Oops. So let's take a quick look at version 5.0. All right, so I've just stepped over into version 5.0. You can see some different colors, but for the most part, the layout's the same. Let's step into a commissioning project. Just some high level notes. So the navigation on the left-hand side is primarily the same. Some things have been moved based on frequency of use by users and importance. And there's some new capabilities here. For example, assets, they're not pin closed, and you don't need to open those to get quick access anymore. So they're right on the top level menu to get to equipment types and systems. And you can see there's new icons representing each area, and a refreshed set of colors. Another noticeable thing here is that screens with lots of long lists and lots of data are loading faster and quicker. So I'm in the status overview. If I load lots of data, things come in nice and fast and quick. For a user, obviously you don't want to be waiting around for the user interface at any point. So version 5.0 with a new foundation underneath it, does bring a faster UI and experience. I'm going to jump over just quickly to another project with OR capabilities, just to show, for example, a full closeout tracker that's bringing all your phases and tasks to the screen, so you can, filter down and really understand where everything is. Fast load, lots of data. Hasn't always been the case in the facility grid that we know today. So that, doing filtering down to what's really important to you at that moment, all happening very quickly and snappy. Now, as we get deeper into the application, you'll find that most things are going normally just the same as they have in the past. Let me jump back in here. Everything looks very similar. You're going to notice different icons, maybe more descriptive language in terms of what everything's doing. But in terms of the layout, it's very similar, and just more modern, touches on the icons and more detailed input for the user. As you get deeper into the modals, so I'll jump down to checklists, and again, all of this is working the same as is today. But as you get down and deeper into, it's very similar to what you expect facility grid and the modals to be providing and doing. So again, no major changes that affect, when you come into 5.0 and start using it, there aren't dramatic changes that you'll need to relearn across the platform. Things are in the same place. They're just faster, and again, new updated icons and so on. So that's just a touch on Facility Grid 5.0. We're going to go more deeply now back into what does that mean and when is it coming. So the 5.0 Facility Grid 5.0 rollout. So it's really, how does it land for you? So 4 major things to know. It's going to be a staggered release. So we're moving customers in waves, so we can monitor and respond along the way. There's going to be advance notice to all users, so you'll hear from us before your account moves without any surprises. On day 1 of version 5.0, there are no new features, and that's by design. We're keeping the move as low risk as possible, and we'll be bringing new capabilities right after the full rollout and release of version 5.0. A note for multi-account users, it's possible that one of your accounts may move before the other for a brief window of time. If that's going to be the case, we'll be communicating with you and around that, and there's no problem. You can be working in version 4.3 and 5.0, in different accounts at the same time, and all data is always up to date and live. So very exciting. Again, a lot of major work has gone into the foundation of Facility Grid, and we're very excited about what Facility V5 brings for our users and the future expansion and rollout of the platform. So let's talk a little bit about what comes next. After 5.0 ships, we've got 2 tracks that have been running in parallel, and both are already in flight. So first we have CXAI, new AI capabilities coming for commissioning, and really the second is everything else, and we're really going to focus, and I'll show you things will be coming in the area of documents, testing improvements, as well as with the reporting with Facility Grid. And those are really the everyday parts of Facility Grid that will be getting faster, more flexible, and more capable. So let's start with talking more deeply about the CXAI. So Facility Grid's AI for commissioning, it's built to take the busy work out of the work. And I'll first talk about 4 capabilities coming in the next quarter. And first is checklist and FPT generator. So this is first draft checklists and FPTs in just a few clicks. It's grounded in commissioning expertise and your existing work, and they get refined by you. So very excited about that, and we'll be going into that in more detail. We'll have some other AI-based tools coming around, equipment extraction from documents. So you can pull equipment records out of submittals, so your teams can stop doing a lot of retyping and rework. We'll be bringing Field Report Assist on mobile, so you can speak it on your phone, and the CXAI is going to turn that into a proper issue or observation. And you'll see AI companion right inside Facility Grid. You can ask Facility Grid how to do something and get help directly in the app in plain English. So excited about the first wave of AI coming with our new CXAI platform. So let's zoom in on AI checklist and FPT generator first. The problem, so building checklists and functional tests by hand or by import really takes a lot of time. So it can take hours per equipment or equipment type or system. And what this does is it allows you to pick a system or equipment, has context, define or approve the sections of the test, how it should be organized. You can upload documents and information and then click, and then out comes a complete editable, checklist and a starting point that you can refine. It's built on not only AI, but really commissioning expertise combined with like patterns of your existing checklists and that are of the same type. And this is really not generic AI at work. It's not guesswork. We've really put a lot of work into it being a purpose-built tool that really knows and understands and can provide that expertise and speed of generation. And all the AI we do along these lines, you really can review, you can modify, you can approve before anything becomes final. So it's got flexibility built in. And the availability, again, after we're fully shipped with 5.0, this is going to be the first item that you see. And what I'm going to provide today is an early preview on this, but it'll give you a good sense of the CXAI generator in action. So I'm going to move over to the AI generator. We've got some modals that come up for the first time users of how to work with CXAI, in this case with the AI checklist generator. I'll just walk through these because we're going to get into it. So we're in checklists. We could also be in functional tests. You can generate now with AI by selecting the icon right from in the web. And then you're going to build out your context for generating a checklist in a three-step process. The CXAI already knows where you are, so it knows we're working on a checklist. It knows that we're going to be working on equipment startup, for example, and a chiller. So based on just what you're doing, it already gets a level of context. And then you can add more details in terms of specifics around the checklist that you would like to generate. In this case, we're working on a chiller. And you can also upload the specifications and or sequence of operations, whatever is appropriate for the equipment or checklist or functional test you're working on. So you're going to give it a level of context, of course, as we all do with AI. And then you can help design the formatting and the sections of the tests. And, based on what you've already done, CXAI will suggest the sections. And I'm just going to do a brief one here for the demo today. But it will suggest all the sections based on what it knows about the type of testing that you've already selected in the context. You can also, modify that easily, add more sections. So I'll add a manual section here. just for demonstration purposes. And so you can define how you like it formatted. And then you'll get a review back, of course, of all the context you provided. So it's read the documents, read your input, and gives you back, okay, this is what you're providing me in terms of, the context, and you can go back and modify if you wish. But from there, if you hit generate, it's going to go off AI. It just takes a minute or so to generate these checklists and FBTs. So taking a lot of the time out of the work that's being done today to do this manually and being done very quickly and effectively. So after a minute, you'll receive a pop-up, and then it'll give you a preview of the checklist, the sections, the questions, and again, you can now modify it, and you can modify it by editing directly. You could go back to the AI form. You could regenerate directly here, and you also have an option to integrate it into Facility Grid. When you do that, it's going to generate the actual test for you and checklist and put it right into Facility Grid. So once we do that, you can go in and see the questionnaire, and it will have built out all the questions, all the sections for that questionnaire, and put it obviously in the right place in your project. So taking time, effort, and putting it out of your hands and into CXAI to help you do these things more efficiently and effectively, and that's really the goal behind our first delivery of AI in Facility Grid for everyone to use. So we're very excited about it. And this has just been a quick, overview preview ahead of the release of 5.0, and then this will be coming out as a beta and then a final delivery. Okay, so let's move on to kind of where we're heading overall with AI and CXAI. So we'll kind of zoom out, and here's where we're heading overall. So I'll talk about it in 3 phases. We'll be providing help, and then we'll be guiding, and doing. So phase 1, AI that helps you. Kind of the 4 capabilities that we just talked about. Those are all fast wins. They bring a lot of value quickly, and they help take out some of the busy work in your project work and leave more time for you to do other things that are more important. Phase 2, it's really about AI that guides you. Anticipate, recommend, narrate. So predicts a schedule and test risks, recommend what tests to do next, triage and explain the issues. So catching problems early and letting you know those things so you can act. And then phase 3, AI that does work. So with your approval, the CXAI will trigger workflows on your behalf. It will monitor performance even during and after turnover. And it will also we'll be working on really deeper analytics and reporting that comes through that all can be very useful in doing your projects more effectively or your jobs more effectively within Facility Grid. And each of these phases builds on the data and the kind of the trust that we earn on the one before. We really understand that. And so we're, again, building very purpose-built AI that really works, and we will build on building help and guide and then doing things. So kind of that second track. So what's coming next? This is kind of the rest of the platform. We've got 6 headline items here. We've got document viewing and markup, so you'll be able to view and annotate without leaving Facility Grid. We're going to be working with testing on conditional questions, so tie required follow-ups to checklist answers. So, for example, if the answer is no, then they must provide an issue. That type of conditional logic. We'll be adding subsystems, so you'll be able to group equipment better for cleaner reports and roll-ups. On mobile, we've got a nameplate reader where you'll be able to snap a photo. Equipment fields will then auto-fill. We're going to have a new report generating engine, so faster generation in the background, but also improved layouts and branding capabilities for your reports. And then some expanded reporting and interim project reports. So these are kind of final report style that can be done throughout the project, but you'll select when and what you need. And then it will generate reporting with all the individual artifacts and package into an indexed zip file for handoffs and events happening throughout the projects. Also, there's some smaller refinements that are planned right in the near term, and then a number of more to come. But we've got percent complete roll-up on closeout tracker, multiple rolls per checklist for completing questions, and a guided equipment import update that has kind of much more parameter scoped intelligence built in to improve the whole equipment importing process when you're setting up your projects. So one other thing I just want to touch on also, coming is API version 3.0. So for those building integrations and automations, we have coming a public, modern public API. It's got cleaner contracts, better documentation, easier to build against this API. It will have write access capabilities, so not just read. So you'll be able to create and update Facility Grid data from the outside. And all of this is a key foundation for automation. It'll be the basis for more integrations, agents, and your own workflows as you like. And another large benefit here of version 3.0 is updated pagination, which makes pulling large data sets dramatically faster. So if you're using the API for analytics and reporting, you're going to feel that one right away. So let me just then talk about and wrap up here with kind of what we've gone through and what to expect and what's the kind of the quick map of what's ahead. So phase 1 going on right now is version 5.0 is in what we call external preview. So there's outside of our testing, we have customers actually doing testing in version 5.0 ahead of our rollout. Then we're going to have phase 2, which is the staggered rollout, which we spoke about. We're going to notify you, then move your account and when it's your turn, or the project that you're working on. We expect this to be in motion by the end of this month. So by the end of May, the staggered rollout will be beginning. And then phase 3, some of the first new capabilities will land after we get into 5.0, which is the CXAI checklist generator we just took a look at. Also multiple roles per checklist. And then after that, we'll have kind of the full wave of both tracks that we discussed continuing to land in the quarters ahead. So as we move here, we're going to be keeping everyone posted. We'll have more exciting updates and additional new features to announce and platform updates coming later in 2026. So all in all, it's very excited. We're very excited and proud to be in a place where we could really update the platform, give it a new foundation, and be in a place to deliver some really meaningful, important new capabilities and features quickly in 2026. So with that, I'm going to be looking at any of the questions that came in. So there's a question about operational ready, if our operational readiness is the only set of licensing that will receive the new AI and tools, or is that across all projects, including commissioning projects? The answer is yes. We'll be including the AI capabilities and tools across all projects. And so those will be available that way. And another question, so is an AI document report generated for a checklist added to the library? Yes, those can be added to the library, and wherever they are, after they've been generated by AI and wherever you may link them or place them, there will be a tracking provided to you that they was created by AI, and it can be modified by AI in any of those places and updated accordingly. There's another question here. Does the document viewing and markup include marking up of photos taken on Facility Grid Mobile? Not in the first iteration of document viewing and markup. We have a number of waves that will come. The first will be PDFs, and those will be markup and have markup. We'll continue on with some basic document management type status improvements and workflows coming. But we do have planned also an upgrade of photos and photo markup and extending that out to the mobile so that you can do more work on that quickly. Now, the AI, that will be also something where we'll be in one of the AI tools along with Assist, that when you'll be able to work with images directly taken through the mobile, better classify them, and then ultimately provide markups on them as well. So that's a great question. Thank you. So great. And again, you're going to be hearing more about version 5.0 coming and the release and And then you'll get notified as users individually when your projects will be shifting to version 5.0. And we expect that to be in full rollout by the end of this month. And those are all the questions that I have at this time. But if there's any that we didn't get to, we will follow out. Oh, hold on. Let's see if there's. So there's a question that just came in. How are the rollout waves selected or prioritized? Is there a way to increase the chances of getting into an earlier wave? So great question. And so we are, the prioritization is primarily in based on size to begin with. So smaller accounts, if you will, smaller individual accounts will go first in multiples at a time. But then we will take larger batches quite quickly in what we would call shared events, shared environments with a whole batch of customers coming. And so there isn't really a way for us to probably take an individual account and say that if you want to be in an earlier wave, to be prioritized. So the answer is we don't probably have a great way to do that. We'll be starting small and then building, but trying to build quickly and get it done in just a couple of weeks if we can. So hopefully there's not a large difference in time between when the first waves start and when we end. But it's based essentially on us analyzing data and making a progression that makes the most sense to be able to monitor and respond and tweak, and then, if necessary, and then continue releasing. So I would expect within 2 to 3 weeks, all the waves will be done after we begin the rollout. So again, thank you for that question. And yeah, that's so those are all the questions. We really appreciate everyone's time. We appreciate all your attention and all the valuable input and that you provide to Facility Grid and all the great efforts. So again, thank you for joining. We appreciate it. It's going to be a very exciting year, and we'll see you in the next webinar in June. Thanks.